So we have sensors, and we've defined some recorder rates. We haven't done shunt cals and anything yet, so we've defined the calibration method for one of those inputs. The one that we defined over here, we haven't told the other ones the calibration methods. So those aren't screaming yet because they don't know that they haven't been shunt cal. And then we haven't done anything special for digital inputs or outputs. I think we'll save that for maybe the next iteration of this. And let's maybe try to do a shunt cal, get some data, and then we'll need to pull it into the data display. So I was mentioning off recording here, but that there's this external application which is data display. There's two different displays. There's data viewer. Data viewer is like an instance that you can run in while you would be running your test. Set it up to display whatever signals you're interested in, and then have that alongside. Like a live display for just the server PC. You can have client PCs that would be hooked up to this that you would have to run through the data viewer. You can also use the data viewer. The benefit of data display. The data display is the standalone, so it's its own application. But once you have your displays configured in it, you save them into a data display workspace file, DBW file, and then you can recall that later and open it up and connect it back to the server, see the same displays and the same orientations as you had previously. Versus the data viewer is kind of like it's an instance. You set it up then, and I don't believe you can save anything on it. It's just it's there now. Once you close it, it's gone. You can't get back to where you were on it. So usually, if you're setting something up, it's more beneficial to just open the full data display software and use it. The weird part that I found with AeroPro and starting out is that at a high level, AeroPro, you use it to create your sensors, do your calibrations, set up, run your test, take your data. Now you're done taking your data. Data exists in either on disk or in a buffer. You need to flush the buffer, save the data to a particular location on the file, and then you have to open up the data display viewer and create a certain type of view in order to pull the binary file in and pull it out to text CSV.
It's not automatic.
It's not automatic, correct? Because you're going to be running, let's say, 10,000 channels a stream for however long. You're not going to be able to. You're going to want it as binary because it needs to be compact until you actually want to pull out what you need. So that's where the exporter comes into play. But the weird thing is that it's a viewer application that is used to then export the information from the binary files. That I found kind of odd. So why don't we try getting around the calibration, shunt verification issues, and then take some data with maybe doing dummy gauges, and then try the export route, and then I guess we still want to get to probably this afternoon. Have you maybe do hands-on with exercises?
Oh, I have class at 1 o'clock.
Okay, all right. Well, that's fine. I'll push Greg through it, and then the whole digital input portion for enable, disable. So, shunt calibration is not valid. Channel has not passed shunt verification. So, I told it that, and I haven't done anything. So I go back and double click on data acquisition channels, or use the top tab. It's unhappy with this. So go to calibration, and I've enabled this as the method. So shunt calibration, each of these tabs, you have to tell it what you're actually using or how you're using it. So here, I've enabled it, but I haven't applied it. So it's waiting for me to finish actually doing something with it. Probably not going to work if I try this, but we'll try it anyways. So apply is saying do the calibration for that particular channel, do the shunt and shunt reference and change the gains. I don't think it's going to be able to change the gains to get because the channel is currently open. So error the shunted signal is not the same as the unshunted signal, or is the same as the unshunted signal. So it's telling me that it sees an open connection and that it doesn't know what's going on with that. I should probably figure it out. So I say, okay, it's still going to have the same deal that's going on. So let's hook up a few dummy gauges then, or at least the one dummy gauge for now. Let's see what we can do with that. So that first one, I believe, should be on FlexStack. What resource? Channel 1. So this is the unit number. So for you guys, it's always going to be slot 1-1. So channel 1, 2, 3, 4. So channel 1 on the front of the unit. That's just 1. They're all marked on there. So I throw that in. So all this is it's just a RJ45 connector with the pin taken off. We use these for calibration and various other just kind of like checking activities. We usually have like 64 of them. We'll plug them into all of the channels on here and then do a shunt cal, shunt verify, and make sure that the FlexStack unit is functional. And then we'll also go through, and there's calibration ports on the front of this. So my calibration sticker's on there. It'll switch a little mux between each input and put that, each input and output, and put that into the calibration inputs, and then we'll have calibrated hardware to send or receive, voltage per channel to do the actual full-scale calibration of the conditioning internally. So these are that's all it is RJ45. The pin's taken off, so we don't have to kill yourself pushing them in and pulling them back out, and then a 350 ohm resistor. So now that that's plugged in,
So you can't change the value
No,
unless you hold it in your hand or something.
and warm it up. Yeah. So let's see. There's any calibration, shunt cal. So let's try this again. Because now you can see at least our reading was sitting at -27.4 versus the other one's sitting out at 43,000. And the only reason you can see the reading right now is because we have the test loaded. If I didn't have the test loaded, you're not going to see it out. And you can't tell it to do anything because we're not running in the real time yet. So it ran through. It also re-zeros too when you do a shunt cal. So it's changing your gain, setting your zero, and setting your reference. So now my shunt reference is stored over here as my value. And that was my calibration. So it was happy with the calculated value and the expected value that we got out. It re-zeroed and it sent my gains down to the FlexStack for that particular channel for that sensor. So if it was to come back to this in a couple of months, and it automatically sets my shunt verification to passed. If I come back to this, I could do in a couple of months and do a verification because I don't need to recal. I could do a shunt verification, and it should come up with basically the same thing. Yeah, so it says we passed because we're bouncing around basically the exact same value that we're at anyway. So the difference was 0.01%. And we passed, but you can change your tolerance down to whatever makes sense.
1%.
Yep, exactly. And now, the other benefit too, you can do this across multiple channels. So I know these right now are assigned 1, 2, 3, 4, so I'm just going to hook up all to the first 4.
You want 350s?
Yep, all the same channel. And they're not directly 1, 2, 3, 4
Yeah,
across. Yeah. So you gotta keep an eye on that. So now I can enable all at the same time, and I can do let's see, calibration is not valid, is not past shunt verification. Well, we haven't done a shunt cal yet, so now I should be able to apply, and it should apply through all 4 channels as well. Instead of having to do each individually, I may not have multi-selected that right, but we'll find out. Yep. So it ran through all 4. It did calibration, and you can see now that we passed verification for all of them. And then they're all reading and happy. So if you do multi-select and you have all of your sensors where you want them, you can shunt everything and it will go through all of your channels. So you can do everything individually.
So obviously there's 8 pins.
Yep.
How did you assign, or did you assign which pins that you're reading, or does it automatically know?
So based on the sensor type that we set up to start with. So on the configuration side, sensor.
So notice we assigned a quarter bridge, but I didn't
Correct.
see where we assigned any of the pinouts to read it, or.
Right, we don't. So quarter bridge and active arms. I'm guessing the quarter bridge is probably defining more so what pins it's using. So the flex stack.
Only in the manual.
Yeah, and now the question is that on?
Do you know which one it's reading now, or how it knows?
What do you say?
The pinouts, the pins.
It's defined per. So if you select a quarter bridge, it's only paying attention to a certain 2 or 3
Yeah,
pins.
it's all predefined.
Yep. So you,
I saw it in
you
the-
don't assign the pins. It's assigned by default,
Yeah.
and then you use.
You have to
it
make
based
sure
on
you
that.
hook up the right pins
Right.
on the,
Correct, yep.
on the connector. I have it on my desktop. I can make a copy of it.
Well, that leads to a good point. Do you guys have access to the my.mts.com
It's new, isn't it?
portal? It is new.
Yeah,
It's
I-
where our documentation is now stored.
Yeah, I don't have access to any of that, so either maybe Gloria, Greg, or Dow can make
I have the
an account.
manual up on my desktop. I think still. God, man,
Ooh, it's getting worse.
poison oak.
Oh,
I got a big property. I was clearing some brush, making a trail, and I was all covered up, and I couldn't figure out how I got it here. And my dog was with me, and she was going all over the place, going crazy. And then I think what happened was I got back into the house, and I took my crap off, and I probably hugged her or something,
Yeah.
and I think she transferred it on. Cause
the same happened to Dowell. The same. It was Siggy that got it to Dowell. Same happened.
and Dal got it.
Yeah, several
Oh,
times.
that's right,
Several
yeah.
times.
I read up on that, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, they because the dogs don't get infected
yeah,
on their skin
but
or
it
their.
stays on the floor
It
and
stays
everything.
on there for
Yeah,
like days.
uh-uh.
And I had washed her, but I had washed her that evening, and I was like, and I knew she probably had it. You want the printout of the printout?
If you got it, well, this was answering another question.
Oh, in hot water.